What's amazing was that these students actually started developing a habit of verifying AI's answer whenever they see them. So they would actually go into their textbook or the books that they are talking about to cross-check those facts. And what's fantastic about this is that they are actually intrinsically motivated to go read the book, not the teachers telling them read the book. They are motivated to go there and verify the answer, and that practice has improved significantly their reading and writing skills.
This is the Discovery Files podcast from the U.S. National Science Foundation. I'm Nate Potker. Building on a foundation of support for fundamental AI research, scientific discovery, advanced computing infrastructure, and the development of the American STEM workforce, NSF is committed to accelerating AI-driven innovation that strengthens U.S. scientific leadership, expands access to world-class research infrastructure, and prepares the next generation of American science, technology, engineering, and mathematics talent. We're joined today by Tiffany Barnes, Shiyan Jiang, and Xiaoyi Tian, NSF-supported researchers whose ElementaryAI project works to prepare students for an AI-driven future. Professor Barnes and Jiang and Dr. Tian, thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start with the big definition. Professor Barnes, can you tell us what is the ElementaryAI project?
ElementaryAI is an NSF-funded computer science for all research practice partnership between North Carolina State University Computer Science Department and the Friday Institute and Montgomery County Schools. We partnered to bring AI and computational thinking to all elementary students in all 6 schools in the district by working in partnership with teachers to learn AI, but also integrate it into the existing curriculum. And our goal is to help students improve on their end-of-year scores and improve overall, just excitement about learning in the district.
Is AI usually introduced that early? I think nobody really, the general public probably doesn't really understand how early computer things are being introduced to kids at this point in time.
AI is not introduced very often in elementary school, but there are a lot of ideas in AI and computational thinking that can be introduced when kids are very young. So we focus on concepts like computational thinking, which includes pattern recognition, abstraction, decomposition. Kids are already doing these things in school, and so we think it's a very powerful partnership to work with elementary school teachers while the kids are learning things, when they learn what are shapes, even when they're really small. That's a pattern recognition task, and AI researchers have always been inspired by human learning, and teachers can hook those ideas about AI learning to what kids are learning actually anytime.
For a follow-up question, a little bit of background. How did this project come together?
The project wasn't built overnight. It grew out of a decade-long foundation of trust between North Carolina State University, the Friday Institute, which has been working across the state to help promote educational innovation and outcomes, and Montgomery County Schools has been partnering a long time with NC State as well. In 2015, the Friday Institute helped with one-to-one tech integration and learner agency initiatives. As they were introducing the new CKLA curriculum, we felt it would be really an advantageous time to also bring in AI to help the teachers and the students get excited about this new age of AI.
So Professor Jiang, I'd like to ask you a question here. How has this project really worked to empower the teachers to become AI educators, to adopt AI concepts into their curriculum?
So one of the big misconceptions that teachers need to become AI experts before they can teach AI. But our philosophy is very different. We help teachers, like what Dr. Barnes just mentioned. We help teachers recognize that many of the skills they already teach in classrooms, such as identifying patterns, asking good questions, interpreting evidence, and discussing ethical issues. They're all very central to AI literacy. So we build on teachers' existing strengths. And also, teachers, they receive ongoing coaching, professional development, collaborate with lead teachers, share lesson ideas, become leaders who support colleagues across the district. So the goal is to not to simply train individual teachers. Our goal is to build a sustainable community of AI educators for the district.
I'm thinking about some of the challenges that might come in here in the broader district, especially, and thinking about getting the tech to the teachers, maybe getting school boards onto the project. Are there limitations to the curriculum involved? Can you talk about some of the challenges in getting this implemented?
So in terms of curriculum limitations, we worked very closely with teachers to identify the natural connection with their existing curriculum. Like Dr. Barnes mentioned about CKLA, which is a new literacy curriculum that they were adopting since last year. So that's not a really major limitation. But the biggest challenge that I saw is that helping people see that AI belongs in elementary education and it can fit naturally into existing classrooms. Teachers may, initially, before we came in, they may worry that AI is too technical or too advanced for young kids. With many kids, they don't even, have that many digital literacy skills. And others might concern that teaching AI means adding another subject to an already very full curriculum on top of the important skills like math and EOA. So our approach addresses those challenges or concerns by integrating AI into lessons teachers are already teaching. And we are not asking teachers to replace reading or math. We enrich those subjects with AI literacy skills. So like the example about kids can learn about pattern recognition while, say, studying birds during a science or science activity because birds might have certain features that can be patterns. And that's a connect to AI concepts. And another challenge, I would say, is a long-term sustainability, which is something we are working on very hard. That's why we work very closely with district leaders and teachers. And that's through what we call research practice partnership. And through this kind of partnership, we hope that AI education continues long after the research project ends.
I'd like to add that the district has been a real partner in this project. So not only have the teachers been real partners, bringing new AI to their students much of the school year, but the district administration has been working with us. We meet at least every month, and sometimes we meet with the superintendent, and sometimes we meet with the curriculum specialist. And the fact that we have these embedded teachers in the districts mean that we can regularly find out what's going on. And then we also get to hear, what are the important problems that the district's trying to solve? And this is a strong, type of research that NSF is funding, these research practice partnerships. And it makes me feel wonderful to work on this kind of thing because I don't feel that I'm just bringing an extra thing to schools, but I feel that we are actually helping solve problems that the district wants to solve and the initiatives that they are interested in doing. This partnership enables us to be able to listen, to be able to brainstorm solutions to problems in the school district. Whatever those priorities are, since we're there as partners, we actually get to talk together about, what do we want to be excited about? What do we want to help other people be excited about? What do we want to help accomplish? And I think that, it's key not only that the teachers are involved, but also that the administration is on board. They're thinking about buying computers for every kid. And there's new initiatives across the state about, determining how much screen time should kids have. And, so we had discussions in some of our meetings, what do researchers think about that? What does research say about how much screen time children should have? And we all had discussions and agreed that, screens can be useful, especially when you get to do something like the chatbots toy talk that Dr. Tian and Dr. Jiang were bringing to the project. But, when they're not doing things like that, if they're just doing something that could have been done on, by reading a book or doing a worksheet, or doing something kinesthetic where they're moving around the room and trying to make an analogy between how their physical body works and how some concept that they're learning in math or reading actually, can be related to, like you said before, there's different needs for different schools, different kids, different teachers, and being able to work together in this practice partnership means that we can address those as they come up.
So, Dr. Tian, I had a question that kind of came out of here that you wrote a paper about, and thinking about accommodating different learning styles. Can you talk a little bit about the approach to maybe somebody like myself, I learned better with hearing in school and reading it as opposed to being shown. Can you talk a little bit about these kind of concepts and how you approach them?
Yeah. So when we are working with the schools, one of the biggest challenges that we have seen is that how do we design AI learning experiences when students come into the classroom with very different needs? They have very different reading levels. They have different confidence level or trust level of with AI technologies, and different ways that they prefer to learn. So we are really thinking about, the kinds of scaffolds that we can provide both in the lessons and in the technology itself. On the instructional side, we try to provide multiple ways for students to engage with the content. So, for example, instead of only asking students to read the story or read the book, we gave the option for them to read or listen to the materials. And we also designed some unplugged activities, which are the activities where students learn about computing concepts without using computers or be on the screen. So one activity that we asked students was that, when we were teaching this AI concepts, one important concept is to understand effective prompts. When you're talking with AI chatbots, how do you construct a good prompt so that you can get your desired answer? And also on the technology side, since I'm more of a technology designer, developer, we developed a system called Toy Talk, which is a platform for kids to create their own AI-powered chatbots that kind of like their AI version of their favorite toys. And so they got to define the job of their toy, the personality, the communication tone, and any rules or guidelines their toy should follow when they are talking to the users. In this platform, we provide them with multiple ways to express themselves. So some students enjoy typing, and they can just type the content for their toy when they're defining their toys. While others, especially those lower grade students, they would be much more comfortable with speaking. So we added those speech to text functions that they can simply press a button and say whatever they want their toy to talk about. And they can also upload the picture of their favorite toy, have the toy speak back to them, and define the voice and or communication style of their toy, which makes this experience feel much more personal and engaging. And so, we build scaffolds to help students think critically about AI. For example, we try to visualize the AI's confidence level in each of the responses so that students can see, oh, how confident the system thinks their response is. And we also included buttons for fact check so that if the students wants to compare this AI generated information with some external resources, they can do that. We also encourage students to compare the responses across different AI models to see if the different AI models can produce same or different answer for the same questions. And so these features, these scaffolds, become natural opportunities for students to teach them about how to evaluate AI instead of simply accepting all the answers. And of course, designing these supports also comes with challenges. For example, one of our students said that, oh, the speech-to-text feature wasn't always accurate in capturing everything the students wanted to say. So we had to iterate on, the interface to make it more reliable and more age-appropriate for these students to use. And that's been an important lesson that we learned, that effectively learning AI learning design isn't just about adding features, it's about learning from students' needs and be able to quickly adjust and modify the features to support these students with different learning needs.
You spoke a little bit there about how their experience might react to the idea of AI getting something wrong. And I wanted to ask you about how you're incorporating or responding to AI hallucinations. Like we hear a lot about these things kind of just pulling information that maybe isn't accurate at all. How are you accommodating that?
Yeah, so that's AI hallucination is one important concept that we try to teach children about. So we treat hallucinations in our system actually as a learning moment for them to be able to, find out that AI actually make mistakes and and we treat that as a learning opportunity for them to realize how would I detect hallucinations? What kind of strategies would I use to find out those hallucinations. And once I find out this hallucination, what should I do to mitigate that? So that's actually one of my favorite moments to observe. We see that students, when they see the hallucination on the platform, they usually were surprised because they were expecting AI to know everything and be correct on everything. So when they see the AI chatbots say wrong things, like a wrong fact about the story that they are telling, they were confused because the response sounds so confident, but the fact was wrong. But very quickly, their surprise actually turned to curiosity. So instead of asking, oh, why is this AI so bad? They started thinking about, oh, why would the AI say that? And how can I make the AI better? And since they are building their own AI chatbots, and so they're also experimenting AI outputs by refining their AI prompts, right? So what we see was that they would go back and rewrite their prompts, and some of them ask the same questions again to just to see if the AI would produce consistent answers, and some would add more specific instructions, and some actually went to upload better knowledge sources,
Mm.
from those trustworthy websites. And they also compare their response from different models and say, oh, this model actually performs better than the other model. Maybe I would use this model more from now on. So we don't see these mistakes as failures. They start seeing them as something that they can investigate and improve. So that's the kind of mindset that we are trying to teach the kids about. Not blindly trust the AI for everything or completely rejecting it, but knowing how to question it, how to investigate it, and how to improve it. So that's what's amazing was that these students actually started developing a habit of verifying AI's answer whenever they see them. So they would actually go into their textbook or the books that they are talking about to cross-check those facts. And they will go onto those trustworthy websites to verify their answer. So when they are doing these practices, we see that they are also developing literacy skills. And what's fantastic about this is that they are actually intrinsically motivated to go read the book, not the teachers telling them read the book. They are motivated to go there and verify the answer. And that practice has improved significantly their reading and writing skills.
I'm a mom of a third grader who just finished third grade and is moving on to fourth. And, at these ages, they start to have end of grade tests. And every parent is familiar with this. And the kids have to practice, getting ready for those tests. And some of the things they have to do are the very things that Dr. Tian was telling you that the kids were inspired to do when they were making their own AIs. So the things the students need to do for the end of grade tests are tell what evidence in the text was, supporting this idea. So the kids will be asked, like, what is the main idea of this story? What is the main challenge for the main character? And then they have to actually give that evidence. So that extra motivation when the children got to make their own chatbots, and we inject hallucinations because models keep getting better and better. So that students can learn that there can be hallucinations, we actually make sure that they have them so that they can have that experience of knowing that they need to check that there is such a thing as evidence and you can go back and check that. And this is all really also very cool because we didn't originally plan to make chatbots with this district. This was research that Dr. Tian and I were already doing to make some chatbots. And then as we were working with the teachers, we said, hey, we'd like to show you this tool we're working on. And the teachers loved it. And then together in a research practice partnership, we worked together to design this toy talk experience for students, and the teachers helped implement it on the ground like every day during the summer program. And this was a really inspiring part of this project.
And I love how you're getting at critical thinking around computer information for kids at such an early age, as they are then to go on to live even more online than we have. Like, just being able to think about what they're seeing or interacting with is really tremendous. So I want to pivot slightly here to kind of the NSF end of things. And you got an NSF grant to launch this project, and I understand you got a supplement to participate in the AI challenge portion. So can we talk a little bit about how that has impacted the project?
Thank you. We were really excited to have a chance to work with the district on the Presidential AI Challenge because we already had a group of 6 lead teachers who were working with us to learn about AI. So when we found out about the possibility to get a supplement for participating, we encouraged all the teachers to continue working with us to think about how they wanted to bring AI into their classroom. And then we scaffolded workshops where we helped the teachers go through the Presidential Challenge materials, learn what it was about, how to apply. And we supported that process for the teachers who wanted to do that. So we had sort of professional development workshops where we worked together with them. They would come up with ideas and tell them to each other and collaborate. And our research team, facilitated the teachers in the district to do that. And then as they were getting ready, we had practice sessions where the teachers would, present their ideas to each other. We all gave each other feedback. And then they implemented their, projects in their classrooms and then brought those back to our teacher team and the research team to tell us about what happened. And then we all got to, reflect on, what the students were learning and thinking about, what could be done next. And that was a really rewarding experience. And those extra supplements for stipends for teachers enabled us to help the teachers spend that extra time that they have to spend outside the classroom to make a new activity, plan, get the materials together and bring it to the classroom and then collect all of that, and create videos and content for the Presidential AI Challenge.
Very cool. So Professor Barnes, I want to ask you about the impact of NSF support over your career. You've got a number of grants over the years. Can you talk a little bit about what difference that has made for you?
I'm extremely grateful and lucky to have gotten the amount of support, over $26 million over my career. And mostly it has all been because I have a strong belief that education is where we should be investing, but also in a research way and also by building tools. So I'm a computer scientist and an educator in my heart. And so I'm always building educational technologies and AI to try to learn from data, to build systems that help students, but also to bring teachers into this sort of world of technology and how we can integrate computer science with education, but also to bring everyday people into learning about computer science and AI, because increasingly our lives have become more and more digital. And so everyone actually needs to have access. And that's really where the National Science Foundation has given me a platform to involve people of all ages, from little kids up through, K-12, college students, graduate students, and faculty like myself, and also my collaborators who are here and others. So I think that, there's kind of a unified vision that many of us who apply for National Science Foundation funding have, is that we want to leverage not only the funds to not only advance research and technology, but also to bring that impact to other people. And I think you would see, if you looked at my trajectory of projects over the years, that actually a large portion of the projects that I do have this component of reaching out to teachers or students or the community and expanding access. And I'm super privileged to be able to do that. Thank you.
I want to follow up with maybe a round robin question here for all of you. How did you feel, or what was your reaction to the AI Challenge win coming out of this project?
Very proud. And we see that what we have implemented in the district and our amazing teachers has won this presidential challenge. We're genuinely proud of what they did, what they accomplished. and the kind of impact that they are bringing to their students, to their families, and to the district and to the nation. And I think that it's very inspiring for everybody, for all the teachers to learn about their experiences, implementing this AI lesson in their classrooms. And other teachers, they can do the same thing and in their own classrooms. And we're planning to share more about this experience to empower other teachers to do the same thing in their own classrooms.
Yeah, and I echo that we are super proud about the accomplishment of the teachers, not just Carrie, but also the other teacher teams who participated. It's a lot of effort to think about to design the lesson, implement it, and also submit it for the competition. So there are like other teams also participating in this challenge. And it's a big motivation for the district and the teachers. They can be leaders in this space. And I think that we should give more space for teachers to demonstrate their own expertise in this area. And the teachers impact the teachers so they can see the impact on the district and the nation. So very, very proud.
I just want to add on that. I was actually in Montgomery in the PD in one of their summer teacher conference yesterday. And we talk about the things that we learned from the AI design challenge, and all the teachers in that same room said that I want to participate for the next year. So that's the power that this presidential AI challenge that brings so much impact to other teachers.
Yeah, and I'd like to just add on to that, just to contrast two teachers we had in the presidential challenge. So Carrie Robledo was at the Friday Institute for a decade at least, and was working with actually teachers across the state, like helping them do digital learning. And she was the winner of the presidential AI challenge and did her second grade activity about using teachable machines with insects. And her students like understanding that even though you can train an AI to recognize different kind of insects, it can make a mistake. And then they started to learn that the data they put in is actually what the AI is learning from. But we had another teacher who this year was her first year doing anything like this. And she was amazing. She was a first grade teacher, and she went above and beyond and was preparing for her presidential AI challenge, ahead of time. And she was amazing in, collecting her students' artwork about their imaginings about AI and what they learned. And so we're seeing growth not just from teachers who are already well prepared to do this kind of work, but teachers who are just coming in and getting very excited because this is a new age, and being able to get the chance to be involved with our team, but with other teachers who are excited to learn, and then being able to share their progress on a national stage has made a big difference.
Special thanks to Tiffany Barnes, Jiang, and Xiaoyi Tian. For the Discovery Files, I'm Nate Potker. Please subscribe wherever you get podcasts, and if you like our program, share with a friend, and consider leaving a review. Discover how the U.S. National Science Foundation is advancing research at nsf.gov.